Alright, mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. G'day, Stu from UAV Futures here, and sorry about that little delay. I lost the window where I was Googling some stuff, and I happened to Google on a different tab, which was the stream tab that we started on. So anyway, g'day, welcome back to the FPV Mix, where we just get together, do a bit of a live stream, answer your questions, throw them down below. But the first thing I want to do is if you could let me know, can you hear me, all this sort of stuff, because I want to make sure the stream is working. I need to work out why that is auto-focusing as well, see if I can turn this off. But if you're new to the channel, what we're going to do, settle in, grab yourself a cup of coffee, cup of tea, whatever you're doing. Welcome to the stream. We're just going to hang out and talk all things FPV. So if you're a significant other or someone, I might even have the mic muted. I freaked out there for a second. Sound is looking good. What's going on, Dodgy? A few people streaming in. But yeah, if you're new, we're just going to hang out and talk all things FPV in this crazy time. Let me adjust that. Anyone would think that I'd just woken up and come in here and turn the computer on to do a stream. That's not the case. I did get distracted though. And I was actually watching some Arnold Schwarzenegger interview about him and Terminator 2. I don't even know why I was watching. I was like, man, I've got to go do this stream. Anyway. Okay. Let's jump in. We're going to answer some questions. It is Mad Monday here, or I guess maybe Sad Sunday in the States, because maybe who's got to go to work tomorrow? I never used to like Sunday afternoons. Let's kick it off with some questions. And if you can, let me just fix up some of this chat here. We've got a little bit of spam to take care of, Drew P. So we'll just have to take care of this. And if you need to tag me, put at UAV Futures. It makes it so much easier when you're writing these questions out, because it comes up with a little orange bar, and then it is much easier for me to see it. So crazy Russian pilots, please start earlier next time. Kids in the US can't watch. You know what? This is something that I want to do as well. I'm thinking about moving my stream forward possibly about 2 hours. And the reason is because it means my day, this is right in the middle of my day. So it makes it a little bit trickier. If I get up a little bit earlier, take care of the things I've got to do with my family and breakfast, all that sort of stuff. And then I do the stream at 10 o'clock my time. That means when I'm finished, it should be about 11:30. Then I can work on, have some lunch, start my content that I want to do as a regular, normal upload, and then that should be able to get out in the afternoon. Because at the moment, when I do my stream at this time, by the time this finishes, and then I go and have lunch, and then it's like 3 o'clock, and I got to go take care of some other stuff. It's getting a little bit late to push out that second video. So yeah, absolutely, I am thinking about starting my stream a little bit earlier. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments as well. All right, and the first one, Imperial Wrecker is saying, at UAV Futures, which sim should we use and why? Now, I really liked this sim here. Let's have a look. DCL game. I'll probably get a copyright strike for this, but anyway. There has to be a trailer somewhere. This is what I'm looking at. A whole bunch of these. So it's this one, the DCL sim. I actually really enjoy this. So, oh, where is like a trailer? There's someone doing a bit of freestyle. Here, look, we're just going to jump into here. This looks like a terrible video, whoever's doing this. I really like this one. It seemed a little bit arcadey, but it was still probably the most fun I've had on a sim. So it was really quick. There wasn't really long loading screens as well, which I think is really important on a sim. You need to press a button and then boom, you're straight back into it. So go check out, I'm finding out, getting confused here. Go check out this one. It's DCL, or DCL the game. It's also on Xbox and PS4, but that's not really where it's at. You want to make sure you're flying around with your radio that you're going to be using for everyday flying, and you can hook it up to your computer. All right. Let's scrolling down. Younger Buckets is tuning in. Thanks for stopping back at the start of the stream again. Younger Buckets, it's good to see a couple of familiar faces in here. Same with Crazy Russian Pilot as well. Cooper's saying hello, and Nicholas is, and how to set up stuff. I'd need a little bit more information as well. Something you can do, it makes it so much easier if you put in as much detail in the question as well. So if you want your comment read out, make sure you tag me, put in as much detail rather than like, if you just say best drone, I don't know what purpose you want to do for that drone. So give me as much information as you can, and let me have a look. Okay. Racing Racing Autism is asking opinion on the Storm Loki S5. So let's have a Google with that together. And we're also going to be talking about some new products and stuff coming up, but let's first Google this. And, well, looks expensive, that's for sure. So if this is what we're talking about, ooh, I'm going to say straight off the bat, I don't like it. Just from this little picture we've got just here. Some bi-blade props. But they're cheap props. They didn't look good anyway. I don't know the last 5-inch really that uses this. Let's have a look. I don't like the LEDs on the bottom. Come on, get to the product piece, please. Where can we get this? Yeah, that's the Stretch X frame. Where's the actual components? It was like $500. Here's just a lot of fluff. All right, I can see Acon ESC. It looks super old. From what I can tell, I don't like how this antenna is sticking up out the top here because that's just asking to get snapped off. These props are probably going to break. They don't look like modern props whatsoever. These motors look a little bit old school. Oh, what do we have? What is it with this website? So 30 amp ESCs. Those ESCs are probably okay. I wonder if it can do smart audio. Here we go. There's the frame specs, fully assembled. You get 6 props, battery mat. Yeah, it doesn't really give you too much information here, but just from the pictures, I'm going to say I wouldn't be buying that drone. Yeah, $527 is probably not for me. It looks like it's about 3 years old anyway, so I don't know. Let's skip that one. Younger buckets, what are your 3 best tips for getting better at FPV? Number 1, and you guys can throw them down in the comments as well. I would say get on the sim. You cannot get better at fly. Like if you are a beginner jumping in, you just want to get on the sim. Number 2, you need to have a specific goal in mind. So what I've seen a lot of people do, and then I noticed when I realized my skills changed a little bit, when you take your drone up, and if you are just hovering up in the sky, you're doing a bit of FPV, but you are not miles up, but let's say you're up quite high. There is no risk to your drone. It's not going to fall out of the sky. It's not going to break if you hit anything. You might be like, oh, I'm going to do a roll. You just do a roll and you float off that way or that way. There's no consequence to what you're doing, and you can't really tell if you're improving or not. What you need to do, put up a gate, a gap, something you want to go around. You need to give yourself an objective when it comes to flying. And I've got to give a shout out to one of my mates, Gunner. We went out flying the other day, and he's still learning to fly around his. He had a new 5-inch there, and he's flying that around. And he's used to, not really having a goal when he's just flying around the field. I said, okay, we want you to fly around this and work on, we want you to go up, fly around this tree, and then come back. So then he was working on that. Okay, now you've got that goal. I want you to do it, but work on your throttle control as well. So try to keep the same altitude and try to keep it a smooth sort of course as you're flying around. So you need to set yourself little goals, and you will find, whether that be gates, whether that be trees you're flying around, whether that be your throttle control, work on those little parts, because when you've got those I guess, and you've also got consequences. You can directly measure how well am I doing this. Your brain is getting some feedback rather than just floating around in the air. And tip number 3 for getting better at FPV, of course, that's probably just watching some UAV Futures videos. You can never go wrong with that. Nick, what are you doing? FPV Nick has tuned in again with the first super chat of the day. Again with the fist bump, bro. You've got to throw a question here as well. G'day to Brian P. Lewis is back in here. Let's have a look. Hey, UAV Futures, I saw a video of drone mesh. He made a video on $160 built. Yep, you absolutely can do that. You can also get the Nazgul, which I feel like is around the same price, which is a top-notch drone there. Scrolling down, do you have any... Okay, this one is from Ice Gold, and thank you so much for tagging me, brother. Do you have any suggestions for a smooth 5-inch prop for freestyle and racing? So they're very different. You're not going to get a prop that is going to work well for racing and for freestyle. But if we look at here, I'm just going to go to Bangers for a second. And HQ props. If you want to be smooth, generally you want to have less pitch. So let's see if we can find probably something like this. The V1S's here. This would probably be a nice mix. They're not super shallow, but you can see this part here, 3.5s. That you're probably going to notice. Is that a 7-inch prop? No. Oh, okay. Well, forget that 7 part. We're going to try and find some 50-35s instead. Oh. Don't put this on your 5-inch drone, it won't work. And I can't seem to find any here, but probably don't get something that's like a 50-50 or a 50-55 because it's just going to chew down way too much amps, and it's just not going to be a smooth, efficient flight style. Just if you want to be smooth, get something a little bit with a less tapered edge on it as well. Or more tapered. Not as aggressive, I should be saying. Okay, still waking up here. We have Ben. Ben is asking, and Ethan's asking, what's the best HD whoop? That would be this bad boy, the Beta. I can actually even show you the video of it because I really liked it. Beta H65X HD. This thing, and I put my name after it. This one was a little beast. So if you're into whooping, definitely check this out. I've got to skip this. Someone's given me a phone commercial ad right here. Ads upon ads. And check this. So we're going to jump into the flight footage. And back when it was... this is crazy. For this tiny little whoop, it's ridiculous. If you look at it here, this is how big it is on the bench. This tiny little bad boy right here, it can record HD. It bound up to my Tango 2. Just all in all, a lot of fun. So definitely go check that out. Just Google, there we go, world's smallest HD drone, or Google Beta 65X HD. All right. And Reese is saying, at UAV Futures, what KV should I use for 4S? I need to know what size props you're running there, brother, and what do you want to do with that? Because you're probably looking at around, if we're talking about a 5-inch, probably like a 2400 would be my guess for a 5-inch, but it could be different depending on what you want to do with that. Gap Tooth Granny, thanks for tuning in again, brother. Great to see you here. Lewis is in here again. Man, I thought this started tomorrow. It's Sunday here. Oh, here we go. Nick did put a question. Is there a DJI setup that you would recommend for indoors? Interesting you say that because I do have this one, Nick, but I haven't flown it yet. So stay tuned because this is probably going to be a recent video I'm going to be working on a little bit. I wanted to take this outdoors a little bit, but of course we can't go outdoors and fly. So I'm just going to fly this thing around and I will let you know how it goes. I think it's on Bangers. I just Googled eSheen and DJI. I'll see if I can get the exact name of it. I know we looked at it yesterday. eSheen, DJI. It would help if I can spell. eSheen, DJI. Let's see what we can Google here. This thing here it is. Viswoop. So, but I don't know how it goes. So definitely we'll have to check that out. Brian Barnes, thanks for checking back in again. What 2S Whoop would you recommend? Probably that one that we were just looking at before. That's the Beta 65X HD, definitely for 2S. That was a lot of fun. And Karian, Bartlett, at UAV Futures, what transmitters actually work with D8 mode? That is a great question because look at this. I went to buy a QX7 the other day, right? Actually, I went to buy a lot of them. But it was really important that they could bind up to my radio, to my Tiny Hawks. What's my phone going off for? Hopefully it's nothing major important. All right. And it's just one of my mates distracting me. So if we have a look here, something like this is not going to do it because I don't bind up to D8 mode. So it's really, really dumb. I don't know why they've done that because you can't get an old school D8 Tyrannus anymore. Your best bet is going to be something like the Jumper T16. The Jumper T16, it's a multi-protocol radio, which means it combines up to a whole bunch of stuff, whether it be D8, D16, Spectrum, FrSky. You know, it doesn't do Crossfire, but you can still put a module in the back. Jumper T16. And this is one of the reasons why I hate FrSky at the moment, because they just totally screwed their customer base and made everybody have to buy a little adapter and to get D8 mode. Here it is, right here. This is the T16. This is in AU price. I don't know why that's so expensive. Maybe that's just phaser FPV. Should be about 130 US dollars. So anyway. Let's have a look here. Ethan M at UAV Futures. We're still allowed to go out for essential stuff though. FPV is essential. Yeah, How am I going to explain that to the cops, though, right? They're never going to believe me. If I'm out in the field and I say, no, 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 this is essential. This is my work. I have to do this. I make YouTube videos. They're going to roll their eyes and probably arrest me, drag me in, and I'll get $1,000 fine. So that is the reason I can't go outside. Russ is saying, send it to him. He'll fly it for me over there in the States. But anyway, uh, let's have a look. How about Bennett Fox is talking about some old school videos right there. I spent all Kerry Ann Bartlett is still saying at UV Futures. I spent all day headaches and all, and I've come to the conclusion that FrSky are I don't want to say a swear word, but he's saying that, and to get a jumper T16. Yeah, well, there we go. We just answered. You and I are on the same page there, brother. Definitely, I agree. FrSky's business practices have gone they're terrible. Why didn't they do this? Why didn't FrSky say, hey, a lot of people like Crossfire. TBS seems to be making some great Crossfire modules. Rather than going out and making our own R9 thing to compete with Crossfire and try to screw those Crossfire customers out and make sure that we will change our transmitters so it won't work with Crossfire. Why didn't they just say, let's work together? We'll make this easy to work with Crossfire. Go and buy the Crossfire system and everyone go and buy our radio. It would have been so much better, but no. So you had to try to squeeze and corner the market, and now I guarantee not many pilots are going to be buying new FrSky radios anyway, that's for sure. Okay. Anyway, I digress. Lewis Kenny at UAV Futures. Do you think the Hulky 50/50 tri-blade props is a good upgrade for the Tyro 99? It definitely, those motors, I do think will have enough grunt to spin those up. The Hulky props, are they the orange ones as well, or are they the ones with a really fat blade on them? Let's have a look. Hulky props. That's GemFan, right? From memory. But here we go. Oh, these are the 50/55 S's. So you can see they've got quite a big blade on them. And yeah, I do think they'll be fine. Flying those things around, you will still have a blast. They'll give you plenty of punch as well. And Angus, welcome for tuning in. Have I flown the Mob 7 HD? That's from Ethan. Yes, I have, and I didn't particularly enjoy it. It wasn't my favorite drone, so I'm not going to be rushing back to that one. I much preferred the Skip 3 from Geprc. So many numbers and letters to remember. Too early for this in the morning. FPV Spin, really enjoying these live streams. You know what? I've been enjoying doing them too. So hopefully it's a bit of continuity in your day. We can all just get together, talk about all things FPV, have some fun, and just chill out regardless of what the time is there. It could be good morning, good night, whatever it is. Thank you for tuning in to the stream. Let's have a look. John is saying, please look for my question coming your way. Absolutely, I will be doing that, John. Let's have a look. John Rosner. And remember to keep tagging me if you've got some questions, because it does make it so much easier for me to answer. And it gets tricky too when the mods are almost too good on this channel. They're answering everybody's questions well, which is what it's all about. And I should say, if you are ever interested, go check out this. The link is in the description. This is, and you can see we've got Russ in here at the moment as well. We must be waiting to have a bit of a chat with some people. But if you need to jump in, have a chat, talk all things FPV, this is where you can do it. I need to, actually that reminds me, I was going to put this link in here. Live. This is actually live on here. Live at UAV. Live on YouTube. Come say hi. And here we go. Cool. Alright, so that should be all good. We'll send this off to some people. Hopefully this is the right one. Send now. Do we want to alert all those people? Yeah, we kind of do today. And I can see some more people. Look at this. We've already got people jumping in, having a chat right there. So yeah, you can jump in, have a chat, have some fun, talk all things FPV on Discord. If I go back here, get these hulky props out of the way. And let's have a look here. Gaptooth Granny, suppose I got some 3-inch Azure props. What can I expect from them? You know what? I feel like the bigger the prop, the more difference it's going to make with its flight characteristics. Going down to 3-inch, you're going to notice less of an impact because there is actually less prop there anyway to make a change. I don't think you're going to notice anything too drastic from what you normally fly if you got some little cyclones or gem fans or something like that. No problem excuse me, Lewis Kenny. Uh, and younger buckets, how do I set up a failsafe for my QX7 and why does it keep telling me to set one up? That is great. If I had a QX7 with a battery around, I would go, it's a great question, I would go and get it. But what you need to do, it's essentially just, it's probably saying when you turn it on, warning, failsafe, not set. So you can go in there and it is in the same page menu as where your bind is. And you know, when you go into bind your radio and you can go scroll down there and it'll say set failsafe and you can set it to do a few different things. There's a couple of different options, but another really important part is make sure on your quad that it is set so it just drops out of the sky. So you don't want it to hold. It is a fail-safe option in Betaflight. You don't want it to hold position or anything like that. I think it's best to when our FPV drones, if they lose signal, you just want them to fail safe and fall out of the sky. And a really good tip I can't stress enough is take your props off your quad. I always do this before I fly any single quad. You take your props off, you bind your quad up, you spin it up so it's armed, it's spinning. You don't have to do this for very long. It's sitting on the bench, and then I just turn my radio off. I hold the button down and I'll say, "You sure you want to turn off whatever?" Blah blah blah. Yep, turn it off and monitor what happens on the quad. And then if your quad should stop and it should start beeping, you know that okay, if you ever lost a drone in a real life situation out in the field, you're flying around, and you did have a fail-safe issue or a loss of connection, it's just going to drop out of the sky. If it keeps going or spinning up even more, that's when you need to go back in, change some of those settings so it will just stop because that's probably one of the first things you should do before you ever go out doing any flying. But thank you for bringing that up. That will hopefully help a lot of people. And Ben C, don't care about price. And what would my first radio goggles and drone be that works out of the box? Well, if you don't care about price, but you want something that all comes together, you're probably best getting something like this. It's going to be very easy to work out of the box. Like, check these bad boys out. Oh, I haven't even seen that one or this one. Probably something like this if you just jumped in and had a look at the DJ. That can't be 300 bucks. What is this drone? Hang on. Oh, this is what I was looking at. I was looking at this, but if you don't care about price, probably a DJI setup where it could be maybe on the iFlight DC5 or it'll come with the radio goggles and drone. I wonder if we can just Google that. DC5 DJI Titan ready to fly. Here we go. Like this. This is probably what you could be checking out. Don't care about the price. Here you go. With digital HD FPV system. So you get all this junk. I think it comes with a radio. Yep, remote control, and it comes, does it come with some goggles as well? It looks like it. Obviously do a little bit of reading, but yeah, if you just got those three things, you're going to have an awful lot of fun there. But of course, look at that price. It's going to be more expensive. But again, if you don't care, that's probably what I'll be going with, and it's all going to work out of the box. You're still going to need to set it up on your computer in terms of registering DJI, though. All right, Gap Tooth Granny. At UAV Futures, also, is it possible to configure my Blackbox to show amp draw? You know what? I don't actually know. I would guess so. I have honestly I haven't used Blackbox for probably about 2 years or so because it used to be when my PIDs would be really bad or the defaults weren't good and you could try to look at them and analyze it. But nowadays, I very rarely stick an SD card in there. Let me just get out of Skype just here. Skype's sending me some messages. Let's go. Do not disturb. Goodbye, Skype. Okay. And Dodgy's doing some work in the chat. Bradley Lots at UAV Futures. How do you charge your batteries, goggles, transmitters in the field? You know what? I don't. So this is something that a lot of people, it's like a big phase. People will be connecting up to their car, all this sort of stuff. And it just wasn't for me a practical solution where I could easily do it. Because a lot of times I've got to put everything on my back, go for a bit of walk to get where I'm going. I don't want to be going back and forth to the car charging. And it was just better for me to take another spare 10 packs of batteries. Maybe if you're going to go camping or something, it might be a different situation. But charging in the field, do it off your car. But most of the time, just throw an extra 10 packs in your bag or buy an extra 5 batteries, whatever it's going to be. I know that is more money and not everybody can do that. It's going to be more money if you want to charge from your car as well anyway. But yeah, overall, I would say it's just better to have extra batteries. But if you must do it, charging from your car. And I also have seen some people get some big solar panels out there as well. All right. Can you? This one's from Jello Ben. Could you say a quick shout out to my Welsh corgi buddy? He died 2 months ago today after a long life. He loves drones as much as you do. We chased micros for years and caught a few. I really miss him. So sorry to hear about that, mate. That's never a good time. If your pup disappears, or dies, I know I'd be quite upset if Charlie disappeared or something happened to him. He absolutely loves drones as well. But it's kind of a bit annoying with my dog now because I've taught him to chase them so much. It's like the best exercise for him. But it's real. He'll just start barking in excitement when I've got him on the ground. When I've got the drone on the ground, it's about to take off, and it's quite. Once it's up in the air, it's fine. But until then, he's just almost trying to bite it when it's on the ground. So I don't know. Sorry to hear that your little corgi passed away, brother. I hope you might have some videos or something that you've got of him flying around. You should have some nice memories as well. Ethan M. at UAV Futures. What do you think of the Happy Model Mantis 85? It's pretty cheap, but is it worth the money? At this point, they can't ship to the AU. Is it worth waiting? I think the Mantis 85 is garbage from memory. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's this one. Oh, a ready to fly kit. It's $139 with the. This does not ship to your location. Yeah, this is pretty old. This is about 4 years old, so it's going to fly not very well. It's BLHeli S. Look at this. We've got a 6 amp flight controller. It's probably an F3, which isn't the worst thing. I don't know. This is a weird thumbnail, just to have somebody's hair just in the background like that. I don't know what that's meant to be. Anyway, yeah, don't get the Mantis. It's not worth it. You'd be better off saving up getting a Tiny Hawk ready to fly kit or something like that. Hey Stu, this one's from James Sadler. Hey Stu, I just wanted to ask, what FPV goggles should I get? I've been saving up my pocket money for months and I don't know whether to get Fat Sharks or Sky Zones. Okay, here's my question. What is it about each one that is causing you to lean towards having one or the other? I actually did a video which took a lot of work. Best FPV goggles shootout UAV futures, where I broke everything down. And here we go. What's this? I'm getting a Doom commercial. I think this is Doom anyway. Doom Eternal. Why are these ads popping up anyway? I didn't think I'd play some video games. But if you look here, we break down everything in terms of reception. Look at the Ultimate Goggle Guide for 2019. Still exactly relevant. And we have a look. Where's these final? We have some other people's opinions as well. We wrote them. Even wrote them emails to find out what their customer support was going to be like. And there should be a total somewhere. I think is at the end. Anyway, in here there's also a breakdown, and they will get a score out of like 50 or 70, something like that. So you'll be able to see exactly. So Google that, and the winner is, spoiler alert, Sky Zone. But if you want a better breakdown of reception, customer service, price, what you get, extras you have to buy, all that sort of stuff, go check that out, because I felt like this was a very informative video that, it looks like some people watched it, so hopefully that helps some people make some decisions. And it's based on their price as well. So there you go, James. That video is pretty much specifically for you. Ethan M, what do you... we've just answered your question there, brother. I'm on a phone through Chromecast, so it's a bit limited compared to the CC. I can't even change the quality and have to type the whole at blah, blah, blah name things. It doesn't auto prompt. Well, that's... I don't know. I'm sure there could be first world... That's a very first world problem, isn't that? My life is quite tricky. I have to watch a live stream on my phone and it doesn't even auto type for me. Imagine saying that to people 30 years ago. They'd just sort of roll their eyes and look at you. Barnes is giving some commiserations when talking about when people's pets pass away. It definitely can be a sad time. It's funny, like watching a war movie or some horrific movie with, blood and guts and gore, and like, oh yeah, whatever. Watching an animal be hurt, like you could be like, oh, don't get the horse. What are you guys doing? Don't shoot that horse or something. That's when it gets me right in the feels watching movies. My car. Okay, this one is the Fly and Ryan drone videos. I feel like I've watched some of your videos before. He says, my car caught in fire from a lipo 4 years ago when I started. Don't charge inside the car, pop the hood and charge. Yes, that's a good part as well. Yeah, I should have explained that. It was always you have the car running, you pop the hood, and you have it sort of sitting on the outside, not the outside, but you just have it sitting on the side of your car on some of like the metal bits. Don't sit it inside and charge. That is not a good way to go at all. So definitely, I hope the Fly and Ryan, I hope your car wasn't too badly burnt and you're able to dispose of that battery. But that could be a scary situation. Bradley Lots is saying he's got the EV 800Ds for now, and it seems to drain the battery quick. It has an internal battery. Any suggestions? You might be able to pop it open and do a bit of a mod. So I don't know what it takes. You'd have to have a look at the battery voltage. I'm going to guess it takes a 1S, but you might be able to change that out, or just save up and watch that video, get yourself some Sky Zones. Dodgy FPV is saying a friend had a few packs go up in the back of his truck at the Flying Ryan drone videos, so definitely, yeah, be careful when you are charging. Always charge when your batteries are attended. Linear wants to know, at UV Futures, do you know what Unibel design on the iFlight Zing motors is used for? Is it any better than the old Zing design? Unibel design. Let's have a look at some iFlight motors and see if we can find out what you're talking about. So, can you give me more details? Because really, I'm not too sure. Most of their motors seem to look the same. We used to have motors where the base of them was all, I guess this is what we could. All these motors you're seeing on the screen now, that's what we called naked motors because they didn't have that bit at the bottom, and they found that the structural integrity didn't really change regardless of whether we had the big bucket bit at the bottom or the these little feet. I don't know what you mean by the okay, I get you now. The uni bell, the actual bell itself, talking about this top part. I guess some people might be worried about these two bits pressing together. Hang on, I've got to stop showing you here. So if this is all one piece. If this is all made from one piece, whereas these motors are two pieces pressed together. Um, I guess it depends on the quality of the motor. So I know for those X Nova motors, they're really, really high quality. I don't think it's ever going to come apart. I don't think it's going to be an issue. Is it really going to affect our drones? I'm going to say probably not. Really, it might be one less thing to worry about, but it depends on the price. If they're really expensive, then I guess I wouldn't worry about it too much. Let's see. G'day, Stu. It is 4:30 here in Spain, so I wonder if that is the morning or the evening. I'm going to guess that's the morning. That's very, very early. Flying Ryan thinks he'd get the Fat Sharks. Maybe it wouldn't be my choice, but we'll we'll see how other people feel. Oh, this water splashed here. James Sadler. I'm looking at Fat Sharks for quality and customer service and Skyzone for performance. I managed to watch all your videos over the COVID-19 period. All of them? That's an awful lot. I would say when it came to customer service, watch that video we were just talking about because we did email them and ask for them. Fat Shark does have good customer service. But I don't know about the quality because, yeah, they seem to make some okay goggles. I know my Fat Shark HDO2s, which I got, they were broken out of the box, so the DVR doesn't work on them. But yeah, I don't know. I personally would lean towards using the Sky Zones over them. The bell is made out of one piece in the Unibell design. That's yeah. I don't know what advantages that would offer a little bit there, but a little bit. We got Skadoosh popping in here. Stuart, sup down there, bro? Not much, man. Just stuck inside, can't get out for a fly. If anyone hasn't seen Skadoosh's videos, go check them out. He makes some really, really cool stuff. Let's see if we might even go watch one. I'm sure he won't give us a copyright strike here. Or else we'll have to write. Okay. It looks like some of these actually. Look, we're just jumping straight in. Pretty cool environment. It looks like we're flying around. Of course, I got the sound off, so it shouldn't be too bad. Oh, yeah, that's never a good place to power loop into. We're going to jump straight through, brother, into some of your flights. And I would be scared about losing my drone here for eternity. Nice. Nice one. Anyway, his channel, I'm sure you can just Google that. There's his channel, little panda down there if you want to go check that out. But thanks for stopping by, brother. Let's get back to answering some of these cool questions. And uh, let's have a look. Hasm FPV is saying, at UAV Futures, should I get a 5-inch quad or a toothpick for freestyling? Saw people discussing about the mass of a 5-inch and how important it is for freestyling. Do you know what they mean? Okay, so they are, when they're talking about the mass of a freestyler, and this is good because we've got some examples right here. We're talking about if you're going to be flying around and you throw your quad into, let's say you're going to flip over the top of a tree. With a 5-inch, you can, it goes this way, zoom it around, you can flip, and because it has so much inertia and mass, it's kind of going to drift a little bit and stay a bit in that orientation, and then it can catch and keep going. If you're using a toothpick, a lot of the times you'll find you'll do this, you'll flip upside down, and the toothpick is just going to go up and straight back the other way because it is so light. It's going to get blown around. It's not going to have like enough punch. It's going to have punch, but it's not going to have enough inertia to keep going in that way. It's same like if you had a ping pong ball or a cricket ball, you can throw a cricket ball and it's going to, it's going to keep continuing in that way that's going. If you throw a ping pong ball, it's going to go, but it's also going to stop as well. It's not going to have that mass or that weight to keep going and traveling. That's what they're talking about. As far as if you want to do freestyle, you really should be getting a 5-inch, and then you can throw a nice GoPro on there, all that sort of stuff. But that doesn't mean you still can do freestyle with a toothpick. They're just a different type of feeling. So if they're talking about that weight and how important that is, that's when they're talking about the 5-inch and how they can travel through the air. Let's have a look. AVR, I think that's FPV at your futures. Is the Jumper T6 T12 a better transmitter for the beginner? I can't even remember the Jumper T12. Is that the yellow one? Or a grey one? It is the grey one. Which, man, Phaser's got some expensive jumpers here. Yeah, I personally, this wasn't my radio. I didn't really like the feel. This Cal loves his Cal has a yellow one he uses all the time, crash test Cal. But yeah, this one wasn't for me. All right. Aline Aline Wenderoff. Can you name a cheap drone with FPV that fly good? Nazgul. So I don't know if you want to check out the Nazgul. We really should be having that on a permanent little link or something here. And make sure you type in Nazgul 5 or it won't come up. Something like this. One of these bad boys is probably a decent option if you want to look at that. So we can already see some people saying Nazgul, all that sort of stuff. So, and I can see Donnie's saying Nazgul as well. I've got to give a shout out to Donnie. I was talking to him on Discord. He asked me a really good question. I was like, you know what? I'm going to save that. I'm going to answer that on FPV. And it was like, what was my first ever flight experience from memory? And I was thinking it probably goes back to when I was a kid. And I really wanted a pair of, and Dad sometimes buy the stupidest presents. I wanted a pair of rollerblades, right? To go skating around the house. It was like the trend in the 90s or something whenever they came around. And my dad got me this little RC kind of helicopter thing. It didn't even really fly. It just flew around in one circle. So my first ever real RC experience was probably that it had like one button, a tilt button, and that just made it go far. Maybe two buttons, a tilt, which increased how fast it would spin around, and then you had a altitude one. It would just go higher or lower. So that was my first ever flight experience instead of a pair of rollerblades. What a jerk father trying to encourage me to pursue RC. Maybe, who knows. Younger buckets he's talking about. When I go to setup and I see fail safe but nothing happens when I select it. I'm not too sure what. Yeah, and also my old radio, when it would say set up your fail safe, I would always say ignore it. As long as it's set up on your drone and you do that selection where you go through, you turn your radio off and your drone also shuts off and stops spinning the motors, you're golden. You don't need to worry about it too much. The boat pirate is asking whatever happened to Grumpy Trev. I wonder if he's still making videos. Did he put one out recently? I spoke to him the other day. He is also on Discord. So we've got Grumpy Trev in here, and he's just been super busy. Look at this. He's flying around the garden. So here we go. He's during lockdown. Oh, we're getting some more commercials in here. Give me 2 seconds. Blah, 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 blah. All right. Here's Grumpy Trev's flashy intro. All right, here he is flying around with the eSheen Cinecan. So Trev's just been super busy, and of course we can't go visit people at the moment because everything's on lockdown. But check out how much work Trev's done to his backyard. He's been building so many, I guess, veggie patches and stocking up for the apocalypse. This man's going to have vegetables for days there with his greenhouse and everything he's got right here. So Grumpy Trev's still around. Just makes it a bit tricky to catch up and go flying with the medical crisis, what he does for his business as well. And of course, right now, we can't go and do anything because we're in lockdown. Please answer that up there. Let's have a look at Ethan Michael's question. If I can see you in here, feel free to fire it in again if I don't get it. Ethan, do you know anything about the Jumper T12? I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to because we just had a bit of a chat about that. The Nazgul is the same thing as the SL5E, right? We can have a bit of a Google and find out. I'm going to put drone after that. No, that's the Sedora. So the Sedora is much more expensive, I think. If we're looking here, SL5, is it the same? Just while I'm Googling this, let's have a bit of a look. It might be actually. Have they changed? They might have changed their name. Interesting. Yes. I thought the Sedora was a different one that came with LEDs and that sort of stuff. Okay. Donnie's answering, what do you think of the Happy Model Manus 85? Yes, we answered that one. That is not a very good drone at all. So thanks very much for re-getting to that question, Donnie. Hasim, can you recommend a very light, durable 5-inch Freestyle frame? Up to 90 euros is fine. Bro, you are absolutely cash. 90 euros on a frame when all you need to spend is... Here we go. TBS Source one. What is it, like 20 bucks? $24? Look at this. It's a strong, rigid frame. This is what I love about this. It's for the price, you can't complain. There's a couple of different versions. I don't even know if there's a racing version nowadays, but a whole bunch of a write-up about it, and it has a lot of compatible parts in terms of 3D prints and stuff online. It's like an open source project that the collaborative FPV frame project initiated by Team Black Sheep. So there you go. This is what I'd be getting for Freestyle. Just why? Because it's cheap. Or if you want to go the other end and you want something with a warranty, let's have a look here. Let's see. How much is the... I don't know how much 90 euros is in US dollars, but there's also, you have the option for something like this, which comes with a bit of a warranty. But you're talking like premium drones now. This is like on the other end of the spectrum. When the reason I like this one is because they come with a warranty as well. So you can go check that out. Kevin Hilburn, I'm looking for my first transmitter. How would you compare the build quality and support of FrSky and Jumper? I care more about comfort and support than price. Support, I have no idea how FrSky handles their support. They don't seem to respond to emails that much. And the Jumper guys, it's probably about the same because they're both relatively fairly cheap radios. I feel more about comfort. If you care more about comfort, I would say I think I do prefer the FrSky radios. I think they feel better build quality in the hand. But what you really should be concerned about is when it comes to radio, you should really care about performance. So performance is where it's at. And in that regard, I would say, it's hard because I do feel like FrSky has a really good fail-safe record. They have a strong radio link. I just don't like what they do with their receivers and how they lock people out of DA, and they don't treat their customers very well. So I don't know. It's up. They are both good options. They have their pros and cons. It's up to you what you care about more. in terms of, do you want to bind up to a lot of stuff and not be locked into one manufacturer, or would you prefer I would say, stronger radio link, but have some of those negative things coming in as well? All right. Kevin Hilburn, is that the same? Yeah, he's here we go. We're just answering your questions. Thanks so much for your super chat you put through as well. You are considering the X9D Plus because it looks more comfortable than the QX7. I know you switched to the QX7, but do you think it is objectively better than the X9D Plus? We're going to Google that for everybody here. So I got a new tab here. And thank you very much for your super chat, brother. It is very much appreciated, especially in times like this. I can't even get outside to do flying, and I'm going to put this in US dollars because I feel like everybody in the world can convert US to their own local currency. So this here, I would say, let me know, Kevin, why do you want to get, are you someone who pinches? If you pinch, this or the T16 are going to, this one is going to be better, I think, than the QX7. There's also the special edition. You got to remember though, you're paying $200 here for a radio. Is it objectively better than the QX7? I'm going to say they do much for muchness. That might be a saying I use. They are very, very similar. I probably prefer the shape of the QX7 because I don't use all these little switches and everything like this. I feel like this radio is much more suited to like a wing pilot. But on the same time, if you're doing that, you could also have a look, and I know it's not in stock, at the Tango 2. So if you try and find Tango, one of these radios right here, whether they're on pre-order, $159. This is, if you're going to fly drones, for me, the ultimate radio. I love this radio. I think it's fantastic. So I know I had this for a while, and I was saying to Trappy all the time. I rang him on the phone the day after I got back from flying. This was like, bro, this is freaking amazing. So I don't know, but of course, I don't even know you could put them on pre-order. I thought they were all sold out. So add to cart. Okay. I wonder when it says this comes through. And if you get the Pro 2, you can even fold the gimbals down, so it's really slimline, and it will also fit in a Fat Shark case. So, and it comes with Crossfire, like it worked with Crossfire. So there we've got Dwight tuning in. What's going on, Dwight? Thanks for tuning in again, brother. I'm thinking about doing the stream about 2 hours earlier than usual, just for everybody who's been tuning in at this time every single day. Go back here. Get back to answering some of your questions. People talking about some Speedy B. Is the Geprc Mark4 good? We'll have a look at that in a second. And a big one, don't just look at drone prices. You need to look at when drones were made and Google that. When can you find the earliest video about that drone? If it wasn't in the last 12 months, it's probably a little bit outdated and it's not going to be as good as value as something that is relatively recent. Let's say 18 months anyway. All right, we're going to Google this one for you, Hazem. Yeah, it's just the frame. Here we go. Oh, it's expensive. So you're talking about this one right here. That's $346. So I bet you it is a really decent drone. It's also just relatively pricey. That looks like a huge heat sink on those ESCs right there. Is that on the ESCs or is that on the VTX? Gods of Freestyle. Where's okay, we have a 50 amp 32 ESC and MMCX connector on the VTX. Yeah, look, I bet you this thing does fly well. It's just, I would say it's relatively pricey. Someone, Sky High UAV, thanks for tuning in again. He is waiting for his Radio Master T16. Yeah, I don't know when they're going to drop, actually. I had a few emails a little while ago, but then I feel like the coronavirus has definitely put on the brakes on a lot of things. So when it comes to people getting their products out, production problems and scheduling, all that sort of stuff, it is nowhere near as good as it should be. Fluxstein, should we get excited about Omway Nexus V2 full HD digital link low latency? I wish I could show you this video. I have a full video done of the Omway digital V2, and the short answer is no. it had some serious limitations when it came to flying around with it. It was really cool how we could use a standard FPV camera. That was amazing. And it still looked really, really high def. But when you were out flying in the field in practice, I was getting a lot of breakups, a lot of lockups, and then it just, like where am I? It crashed into the ground. It wasn't an enjoyable, reliable experience in any way, shape, or form. Things might have changed. I've had mine for about 4 months, 5 months. Probably got it near the end or the start of this year. But yeah, don't get excited about a new. This is something people don't realize is just how tricky digital FPV is. It's not about the hardware. It is about the protocol and the software you're using to send that transmission. Skadoosh is saying Tango should be back in stock soon. They just got the electronics, so there you go. Go if you want to get a Tango 2. Definitely shoot him an email. Say, hey, Stu said I should get this. Is this a good transmitter? Barnes 1980. I bought the T16, then my mate bought the X9 Lite. I set it up for him, menu and setup wise. It felt like a cheap TV with less buttons than the jumper T16. So, what do you mean by that, Barnes? So, you didn't like the size of the screen, or you just preferred the action? Because they both run OpenTX. The setup should have been very, very similar. Maybe it was just the screen that you didn't like. And that is something with the Tango 2 that I thought I wouldn't like. It has quite a small screen. It's about the size of that bit of the camera on the back of my phone, but it's a fairly high res little OLED screen, and it's very easy to set up as well. So that's another plus for the Tango 2, and it means you can have a smaller radio. We've got Applesauce in the chat. What's going on, Apples? Met him on Discord. Chatted to that boy a few times. He's been around probably from the beginning days of talking on the Discord. And Bo FPV, he's been waiting for the Radio TS16 since Feb. Yeah, I don't know when that's going to be coming out. Don't hold your breath. Okay. And Hasim, when we were talking about this, maybe he wanted to know the frame only. So what do I think about the frame? Well, we'll click on this one. This might be the DJI compatible one, but yeah, look, it's very long. It wouldn't be my frame of choice anyway. Not for $64 when you can just spend a little bit more if you're going to be spending that much, or you go the source one. What was this countdown? Okay. All right, we've got the exchange program going on up there. I'm not too sure what that is about. All right, keep bringing your questions in. If you've got anything to ask too, make sure you tag me with @UAVFutures. So thanks very much, everybody who's putting some things down below. Definitely very much appreciated. And you never know, I might be, even if you just got something that you want to mention, and it might be a good tip that you've got, you might want to learn something, but it's not just an interaction between you and I, because all these other people watching, they might think, oh, I never thought of that, or that's a great idea. So you guys are full of information as well. Use this as a place where we can all learn as well. So shout out to Big D FPV. Shout out to him. I know he's been around on the Discord for a long time and been watching the channel quite a bit. Nathan P at your futures. What was your very first drone? So the very first drone I ever got was one of these bad boys. And we're going to talk like racing drones. I'm not going to talk toy drones. And it was the Emax. I bet you we can find a really expensive kit still. Someone's going to still be selling it, whether it be on Amazon, Emax Nighthawk 280. Ooh, look at this, $500. It was pretty much something like this. This is what drones were like back in the day. So, oh, Hobby King, plug and play. Let's take your bets, boys. What do we think Hobby King's going to sell it for? Because these drones, this is how bad these drones were back, discontinued. At least that's done. But yeah, it was one of these kind of drones. Just look how bad that looks now. It's just asking to be broken. It had terrible electronic spacing. Nothing would fit in there. Look at this on the back. You were meant to put your video transmitter at the back. You put your battery on the top. But I loved it. I'll have to see if I can find some pictures sometime and post it up, because I was like, man, I just built the world's coolest drone. Little did we know that in the future we'd have things that are so much more reliable and just amazing that look like this. But that was how our drone started. All right, let me get here. Donnie, bro, what are you doing? Donnie's giving me like the biggest super chat ever. Thanks for being you. Thanks very much, Donnie. Hugely appreciated. You madman. What are you doing, brother? Yeah, loves going out to Donnie. You can go check out his channel as well. And also, um, the way I met Donnie was we did a video which was Drones Changed My Life. And he made a post there, and it's crazy to see, I guess, his transition. He was flying around, and this is where I feel like my channel is really important, where he was flying around with some, I think it was like some more filming style drones, but then you can see the progression into FPV, how much fun it is getting out there, meeting people, and he's also become a huge help and a huge part on the Discord. And I'm not just saying that, Donnie. Thank you very much for everything that you do, brother. So I'm looking down at the Discord icon there, and I probably talk to him daily. And Discord's also got this really new feature where if I jump here, lately, sometimes when we've been in voice chat, and I don't know if this is going to stay around, it also pops up with like a video chat as well. So we're sitting in there. It's really easy to diagnose problems, and you can say, hey, this isn't working. You can hold your drones up, and you don't have to just talk to people now. You can either text them, talk to them, but you can also do a bit of a video chat and help people out. So huge shout out there. And thank you so much, Donnie. You absolute madman. Alrighty, let's have a look. Going back to some of these, getting distracted, too sentimental. Lewis is asking about different licenses to fly in local parks and that sort of stuff. Lewis, my advice to anybody, besides this is generic advice, and I would say, you know what they say on those insurance ads, or the advice given is general in nature. Please consider the product and your financial circumstances before proceeding. Blah 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 blah. This is what I would say. Regardless of what you where you are flying, contact your local county or look at the bylaws, whatever it needs to be, follow all laws, rules, and regulations. And as a rule, I never give any legal advice based on anybody's situation when it comes to flying, which is different all over the world. I don't want to be involved in, I guess, telling somebody the wrong advice. And I feel like if I don't know the answer, I don't want to, I would prefer just to stay silent than give somebody the wrong information. So what you need to do, contact your local council and or some of your local hobby clubs and yeah, remote, what are they called, model associations or whatever it is, and write them an email. They should be able to let you know all about the local regulations regarding on where you are, where you want to fly, all that sort of stuff. We have, let's have a look. Oh, stupid mouse just scrolled away too far. Donnie's saying, shh, stop. Right there. Barnes 1980, the screen for sure limited how the menu setup was, but it also came with no SD card. Also, you can't upgrade the antenna without pulling the radio apart. No grips on the back. Okay, so you're talking back to the T16. First, the jumper. Um, yeah, it is kind of annoying that you would think that the not the jumper, the FrSky radios would come with an SD card in there, even like a 2 gig or 8 gig SD card. What's it going to cost? Like $4. So I don't know why they don't include that. Just another reason why FrSky just seems to be way too concerned with profits and everything to drive a little bit of profits at the expense of their users. So whether that be locking users out of their old school receivers, forcing them to buy new ones, not allowing them to go buy setup Crossfire, not including a $4 SD card. Like, come on, FrSky. I'm sure a 10-year-old can do better marketing than what you're doing. Paul Map at UA Futures. Where are you based? What city or state? Just curious. Just asking for a friend. And we're down in Victoria, bro, down the very bottom of Australia. So I was talking to my wife about moving maybe to another country and flying around. The only reason I stay here is for my friends. And so I can fly with Wingman Jono, Crash Cal, Grumpy Trev, Long Range Tony, Grange, just the crew. And I was like, man, I'd love to go and live in New Zealand. It just looks like a really nice, chilled out place. And some of my mates in New Zealand who I've met on Discord are like, yeah, but the weather sucks in New Zealand. And I see Bruce's videos and I was like, yeah, it does. And then someone's like, but the weather sucks where I live at the moment as well. So in the bottom of Australia, it's definitely always windy. It's always raining. I can hear it. It's very windy even outside right now. All right, Night Train FPV. I wonder if this is the same Night Train oh no, I'm thinking of Night Fury. Night Fury used to be around flying. I wonder if Night Fury is even still flying. I haven't seen some of his videos recently. All right, Ethan. So I know you're asking me to answer something, but I can't see it, brother. So rather than just doing the little arrows, put the question again as well. So otherwise, I'm gonna have to scroll up. I'm not sure. The little arrows. Yes, if I look at Ethan's question at UAV Futures, it's got some of the arrows above, and the thing above says, yes, I want them to if they are really better. That's from Spleef FPV, so it can be a little bit tricky. And then, okay. Sky High UAV at UAV Futures. Is the TBS Tango 2 compatible with XM Plus receivers? Is there a huge latency issue? If so, nope. It is not compatible in any way, shape, or form. So the Tango 2 right here, it is purely made for Crossfire. It doesn't have a module on the back. You are going to need to replace your receivers. So if you just have XM Pluses around, you are out of luck. You're going to need to get some new receivers to put that in there. The good news is, though, it's going to have much better range than your standard XM Plus. You're going to get far fewer fail-safes. You are going to have better latency using the Crossfire system that's inbuilt into this. And generally, it's just a better radio all around. But if you have a ton of XM Pluses, you know that is something you need to factor into the costs. I'm going to have a look at some of these skins, actually, they had for them. I think shout out to Ben. He even made a custom skin. 2 wheels. All right. So it looks like you can. I don't know which one of these would you choose. Actually, why does that one look like? That one looks like the one Ben had actually. Anyway, let's jump in. I'm getting distracted answering some of your questions. What do I think of the Tango 1? Some people might not even know that exists. So okay, we're gonna Google this here. Tango TBS, and hopefully we can get some old school pictures. Wow. Here we go again with the phaser FPV big dollar discounts. Check this out. That was a bit of I should give Phaser a bit of a break. It is more expensive in Australia because we've got to ship everything in. We have a heap of custom fees, all that sort of stuff. Do not buy this product though, and especially don't buy it for $449. This was the original Tango 2, and that is a full-size gimbal. That radio is huge, but something that it does do a little bit differently. It's got a FPV antenna actually behind. I don't know. Can't remember which side it's on, and inside there you can actually tune it into your FPV screen. So, that was kind of a little bit gimmicky. It's not really what we use our radios for anyway. So I don't know, but I have seen Trappy when we're flying out doing some long range. He's just looking down, flying off his transmitter. But anyway, for me, I don't know. It's not. It was just too big, and my gimbals felt really, really loose. I didn't hate the radio, but it wasn't my favorite. And I think you might even be able to do some secret codes in there. If you press some certain buttons, some certain famous codes, there might have even been some inbuilt. I shouldn't say too much. So some cool things would happen on the screen. But what do I think of it? The Tango 1, it was large, and it was a bit of a future concept, almost like it wasn't really what we wanted in our radios. We're still learning about what we wanted with FPV, but I'm so glad that TBS spent the years and went from the Tango 1 to the Tango 2. Is it better and they also want to know, do you think the Tango 1 is better than the FrSky FSI6X? Yes, absolutely, I do. But then you look at the price. You're not going to buy the Tango 1 anymore because it's ridiculously expensive. Imagine being the guy who's sitting around with a warehouse with 400 Tango 1s. I don't know what you're going to do with them. Zombie at UAV Futures about the 2019 power build. I completed the build and had a few flights, but now my quad won't arm and I can't connect to beta flight. I'm worried I fried the FC. Any thoughts? If you can't connect, what's happening when you plug in the battery? What happened on your last crash? And if you can't connect to the computer, and you can't connect to Betaflight, yeah, I would say you probably have fried the ESC. That shouldn't be happening. Also, what happens if you plug in the battery? Do you get 2 tones from your ESCs? So you get the initial startup tone, and then you should get another one, or whatever. If I had a battery here, I'd plug one of these in. But yeah, the second tone lets the flight controller and the ESCs know that they're going to be talking to each other. Toby Morrison at UAV Futures. What do you do for a job? Is it just YouTube or you do something else? So this is it. I'm at work right now, brother, answering your questions, making drone videos, sharing this love of FPV. I used to be a teacher many moons ago, but then I left teaching to come and focus on this full time. So I feel very blessed to do what I do. And yeah, thank you to everybody who supports me, and whether that be my patrons, you viewers watching right now, the people who put super chats in, anybody, people over on Discord, everybody who's part of this hobby and help support me to help share this hobby to as many people out there as we can, because it is extremely in my opinion, one of the most valuable things that we can do for our society, for people in our demographic especially. So I'm going to say males. We're predominantly a male-focused or I don't know, populated community. That often, for me, I wasn't the biggest person into sport. I wasn't into anything like car racing or I guess meetups with other motorheads. And I like playing video games, but that's a very isolating. You kind of do that at home by yourself. And I wasn't into going out to the bar and getting smashed every weekend. So FPV for me, and I wasn't into fishing. So when it comes to flying these crazy little fun flying robots around though that you can see FPV, yeah, I'm into that, and it gets people out there, gets people flying. I'm getting a bit too sentimental, getting a bit too distracted here. But yeah, this is my full-time job, and thank you to everybody who supports me and allows me to share this message and get other people flying as well. Philip, so what are your thoughts on the KISS F7? I don't know, just I'm probably never going to fly that one because I'm not that I'm not the biggest fan of KISS, but I'm more than happy with what Betaflight does. Warrior Egg Stew, aiming to upgrade my EV 800D. What's your suggestions for overall? We just spoke about this at the start of the stream, but for anybody new who was tuning in, if you Google best goggle, best $300 FPV 2019, let's see if this will come up. Here we go. This one. So here you can Google this. This is what I really recommend. We broke it down. I gave everything from the image quality. What do we got? The light leakage, usability. I hope that's how you spell usability. Their prices, and we totaled up their points up the top here, like a bit of a running total breakdown. I wrote them some customer support emails, wherever that is. We've got some other people on there as well. And yeah, pretty much I rated the top 3 choices that people are going to be using them and really put them through a scientific breakdown of what was going to be the best one. So yeah, go watch that video. It will help you make a much more informed decision than me having a chat for a couple of minutes, especially when you're about to spend your hard-earned dollars. So hopefully that helped there. Warrior Egg, FrSky A2 receiver. Does that mean I can buy a FrSky without receiver and it will bind? This one's from Ethan. Let's Google this. Oh, yes. Sorry, that's talking about the protocol. Yep, that's right. If you buy a FrSky receiver, just make sure that it does have that option. So the receiver, so for example, we used to use these IS6Cs a lot. If it's still in that, you can see here's the protocol that's using AFHDS2. Make sure that is going to bind up. So if your FrSky radio uses that, it's going to be fine. But I would say try not to buy a FrSky because they traditionally don't have the greatest reception. All right. Zombie, jump on Discord, but it sounds like your flight controller might be dead. That's what Ben is saying to him. Razor FPV, the Sedora SL5 and SL5E are not the same. The SL5E is more like the Nazgul. Yep, and I would say that is represented in the price as well, but thank you for that clarification. Aaron Randall, thanks for your vids. You just won a racing drone, a 5-inch frame. Purchased the Mamba 54 stack Rush BTX for it. Can't wait to try my first FPV 5-inch. Your videos, can't wait to fly my first 5-inch, and your videos made it seem awesome. The Raging Droner was an absolute beast. So that is this frame right here. Raging Droner. Better be careful with my spelling when I'm typing this thing in. And this is the no canopy version. And remember, you're going to be paying a bit of a premium because it is Catalyst Machine Works. So that is this one. What do you guys think about this? I think, yeah, it's it's a mix between what they've learned when it comes to freestyle, and it also comes to racing. But I really like this crossbar at the front, a very, very rigid drone. However, I was kind of pissed at mine because I smashed it. And I smashed the ESC. I got really unlucky with an ESC crash. A stick went right into the side and kind of ripped some wires out and shorted, burnt out. Replaced the ESC. It wasn't the easiest to work on, but spent all night. I was like, I'm going to go fly this tomorrow. And then I did you can see in one of my freestyle videos that I recently did, probably one of the last videos that I published, went out and then I slammed it into a tree and it broke. So I got a bit unlucky with that. But I did really, really love this frame. It's probably, I don't know, an awesome racing / with a tiny bit of freestyle frame thrown in there as well. All right, let me go back here. Logan Cassidy, is there a trash can killer for the same price? Same question as the Sky Zone O2Cs. No, Sky Zone O2Cs. There you go, 2 ones. Go get those. Trash can killer. probably, it depends. You want to fly around indoors or outdoors? Because I really like the Mob 6 or the Beta. It's not going to be on this website. We looked at it before. Beta 65X HD is this one. And I need a haircut. I can't even find. Why can't I even find my own video? What's going on here? And of course, anyway, just Google Beta 65X HD. See what comes up. Let's have a look. People are saying they like their Mob 6. That's from Ben. Donnie's saying, hit that like, y'all, in his American accent. I feel like my trash can sucks compared to the Novice one, which you only get, though, with one terrible kit. So that's from Barnes 1980. And they're very different quads, though. So the trash can is a little ducted quad. It depends if you want to get out there and go flying. Logan, do you want more of a toothpick style quad? Or do you want something with ducks? If you want something with ducks, the Mob 6. If you want to go something like a cool toothpick, have a look on the Avant website for something like this. Vanta, I think it was called, which is this little bad boy. Absolutely screams. So you can pick one of these up. And this is the fastest little toothpick I have ever flown. This thing was a beauty to fly around. So if you really want something that goes crazy, you are going to... This one is a lot of fun. So definitely go check those guys out as well. Let's have a look here. I only have a trash can and novice ones to compare, so that's from Barnes. It's a bit of a problem about the novice one. I just don't like the. Hopefully, do you have some better goggles or anything, Barnes? Because Barnesy, because the goggles that it comes with are not nice. My chat isn't working. Can you check your emails soon? I can do that, Ethan. I still have a few emails. I should warn you. I have about 60 emails to get through first, though. So, what I like to do as well, when it comes to my emails, I try to give people, yes, sometimes they might be short, but I try to give them a succinct amount of information. So be like, look, I made these 3 videos for you. Bang, bang, bang. There's not too much fluff in there, but I got to get through those other emails first. I really hate I don't read an email unless I have time to actually create a proper response to send back to that person. All right. Warrior Egg, thanks, Stu. We'll watch it now. Take care and keep yourself safe and your family. Absolutely. It's probably getting close to almost midnight over there in the States. And we've got some more questions coming in. Ava FPV or Ava Yaya. I have no idea how to pronounce that. I think flying, I want to start flying cheap with F3. And when I think I can fly a bit better, then I'll switch to an F7 because I don't want to lose more money on beginning days. So, Ava, I'm going to say to you, don't buy into the hype, brother. You need to, or sister, I'm not sure whatever. You need to focus on just getting a fun, beginner, reliable drone. An F7 or an F4 or an F3, it's not going to make your flight experience that much better. And if you are a beginner, it is not going to make you are not going to notice the difference that it offers anyway. It's like taking a kid, I could take my kid to Pizza Hut, I could take my kid to Domino's, I could take my kid to a first class pizza cafeteria where it's really expensive. You know what? She's going to eat one slice of pizza anyway, and she's going to be like, that's nice. Can I have some chocolate or ice cream now? It's going to be the same thing for you when it comes to flying. You're a beginner, just get a decent value kit and or a decent value drone, and don't worry about upgrading. That F3 is still going to be fine. And if let's say I went to Pizza Hut now, I'm still going to smash all that pizza. I'm still going to enjoy it, whether it's the really expensive one or it's the really, I guess, cheap pizza. Why am I getting distracted here? I must be hungry. Lunch is coming up. But F7, F4, it's all a bunch of a bit of yes, it does do something, but there's a lot of hype in there. Just get a good value drone. Just look at the Nazgul or something like that. Barnesy is saying, I'm just going to start calling you Barnesy right now. Barnesy, the novice one is ducted, bro. Oh, okay, sorry, yes, next gen trash can from Machine. Damn, you reviewed it, son. That's why I bought it. Sorry, I was getting confused because I've also reviewed the Novice 2. So I'm getting the Novice 1 and the Novice 2 confused, especially after we're looking at this quad here, which is the same shape as the Novice 2. So that's why I'm getting those confused. Widget says, V Midget, UA Futures, plan to fly mostly indoors. Should I buy the Mob 6 as my first drone? Yes, you should. Go watch my video of that and you will see why that thing is so much fun. We're flying around. If you Google Mobula 6, UAV Futures, that I love that little drone. It's amazing. Christopher Wolski at UAV Futures, teacher in the US here. Who did you teach? So I taught some 12-year-olds and 11-year-olds, 10-year-olds. Kind of, they call it like 3-4, grades 3-4. It was a mixed composite class, and I taught them everything. Poor kids. So English, maths, whatever it is, I taught them goods. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I sometimes miss the kids, but not often. And I definitely don't miss the stupid meetings and reading textbooks and collecting data and just doing a whole bunch of garbage that actually made my teaching life more difficult and wasted so much more of my time. Those kids would have learned so much more if I didn't have to spend all this time doing complete trash for the department and all the tossers that needed to tick those things off on their books. Just let me do some freaking teaching, guys. What are you doing, government? Anyway, there's a bit of a rant there. A lot of the funny thing was all the teachers feel the same way. It's just the heads that don't seem to get it. Let's go read some John Hattie textbooks or some other trash. Anyway, moving on from that teacher stuff. Scooter file FPV. It's 4 a.m. here, so I'm off to bed. Night all, bro. What are you, Malice Vex? 4:16 a.m. That's very, very late, but I guarantee Malice Vex stayed up well past that. Barnsey is saying Peter analogy, awesome. Dwight is still here watching the channel, so thanks so much for always tuning in, Dwight. Do you have any cheap soldering irons recommendations around the $34 USD mark? I do actually, and of course, write it with me, guys. Put it down in the chat below. We are going to have a look. It's going to be $50, and it's this bad boy. So here we go. TS100, $50. It is gold. This is the go-to soldering iron. Don't get the TS200, TS100, absolutely magical. So there we go. Go check that out. Duck My Squee is in here. He's saying poor Malice Mob. He's not poor, bro. He just plays video games all day. His wife looks after him, and he just hangs out and has the most chilled life. All right. Stu's Drone School. That's from the OG Scoot. Mr. West right there. So yeah, I did like taking my drone to school. You know what? We had this great, okay, here, story time with Stu. We had this, there's a video series idea. We had like a partnership program. There was a high school across the road. I took my class there. We went and saw this other high school, and they were doing some technology thing. And no joke, they were running a drone class, and they were talking about drones and all this sort of stuff. And this is probably, I might have had, I don't know, 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. The kids had no idea that I did YouTube. The school had no idea. And it was just so funny to hear these informed professionals talking about drones and what they can do and all this. I think sometimes they were even talking a little bit about FPV. I just kept my mouth shut. There was no way I was saying anything. There's no way I was going to tell the school, hey, yeah, I'm making YouTube videos on the side. And by the way, I'm planning on leaving in a couple of months. All right. Dwight is asking, can you review the HSK Freestyle 250? I think it's a great price for the frame. So we're going to have a quick look at that, Dwight. Thank you for tagging me, throwing your questions in here. And I'm going to have a look at Logan Cassidy's bit in a second as well. So it's okay for spamming me, Logan. All right, this frame. Oh, okay. I don't like this frame, and I'll tell you why. If this is it. I don't like this frame. Can somebody? Oh, you guys can't see what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see. We're going to come back to this and why I would say nah, I don't get this one. So we're going to let you have a little think of that while I answer some other people's questions. Logan Cassidy at your futures, but can you get the Buston Dualomo Hybrid X? So why people are answering what? Can you have any guesses? Let's have a bit of interactivity. Why I don't like this frame right here. I'm going to Google this one. And it looks like when I'm Googling this, I don't know what we're talking about here with your one, Logan, because it's coming up with some skateboards. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there, bro. But the reason I do not like this frame, I'd say nah, do not get this, is because absolutely this is a clone. So this is something that people often think, oh, Stuart, all he reviews is China clones. I would say good luck, boys, trying to find a review where I have reviewed a frame that has been a direct clone of one of the top framed ones out there. Yeah, I review cheap ESCs, cheap motors, whatever, cheap kits that you can throw together. But I would say don't get this one. You wouldn't see this on my channel. You won't see any reviews of like some of the Armature Chameleons, whatever. You know, there's been some, even Korea Rhea, the Talons. There's been so many clone frames that are out there. They don't actually come on my channel. So I feel like that's something I cop a little bit of stick for is, you know, people think that for some reason that I review clones, but you'd be hard pressed to go through my channel and find some actual frame reviews of clones and those sorts of things. So don't get this one because it's totally stealing off Tommy's remix idea. So there you go. Don't get that. T. Barnsey owns the T16 V1 and he's very happy. The Radio Master should be better. I'm not so sure if it is going to be better, actually. Everybody can see that it is a Remix clone coming in the thing. That frame looks like an Armaton ripoff from Gap Tooth Grannies. Yeah, not Armaton, but that's from the Oh My God people. I don't know who makes those. It's not Rotor Riot. Logan Cassidy. It's an electric skateboard that I have 31. Ah, so you were asking me to check out that skateboard, Logan. Yeah, maybe I'll have to watch this a little bit later. It's just I want to try to keep this a little bit drone focused. Spleef FPV. What's the best frame size for racing and freestyling and why? 5-inch. For whether it be racing or freestyle. However, I feel like for freestyle, it's got the right weight that it feels good flying through the air, and it can also carry a GoPro, so that's for freestyling. However, when it comes to racing, there's a couple of different reasons. So if some people say X class is going to be best for spectators, 5-inch class is probably the best for where the community's at and you have the highest concentration of the top tier pilots. However, I feel like the little 3-inch races are actually faster and require, you can have some more insane, I guess, head-to-head crazy top-tier speed flights with them. However, it's not very popular. So I think that 3-inch racing could be where it's at, but it's probably never going to happen. All right. Let's have a look. So we got OG, Mr. Kent West. He's agreeing with, that's why we don't have that frame on the channel. And Barnsley's been shot down with some tears. Yeah, sorry, brother. Christopher, is there any advantage of the arms being top mounted like that? So you're talking about, let's have a look at the remix frame. Here we go. And here we go. We're going to have a look at Get FPV. So here's the original one. And it's not even that much more expensive. Will not restock. Okay, well, I'm sure you guys can Google this. There might be, because this is the V1, there might even be a V2. Is there an advantage? Maybe the only advantage I can see straight off the top of my brain, what do you call it, top of my head? Your battery is going to be sitting at a center, like a better center of gravity. So when it's sitting in here, you've got your motors, which are around the same weight proportion as well. You've got a little bit of the cage underneath. It's going to balance out. So it's not going to have a big battery on the top or big battery underneath, I would guess. That's why it's been designed that way with the arms on the top. Other than that, I'm not really entirely sure. You'd have to watch. I know Tommy does a full breakdown of the frame overview, but we're not, this is his frame. He designed it. Go watch his 13-minute video on it, so I'm sure he'll talk all about that. And it was really a shame when that thing got cloned. I even sent them a message, or I sent, I think it was Drew or someone's like, hey, do you want me to review this, and get this original one a bit more exposure? But they didn't really seem to be keen on that idea. I don't know why. Anyway, let's go back here to Ben saying there is in fact a V2. Mr. Kent West is saying yes, center of mass. So that's definitely agreeing with me right there. What UFL antenna should I buy? That's from Joey, and I don't know. It's all not all pretty much the same, but any reputable known brand is going to be fairly much the same. So it could be like a lollipop antenna from Foxeer, it could be an on-way antenna, it could be a TBS antenna. Don't read too much into that. I think you're still it's gonna be more important the goggle antenna on your head. Make sure that one's a good one as well. Let's see, D4UFPV. Believe me that you will want and be happier with your OG remix. It's an amazing quad, and the V2 is even better. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I was saying don't go buy this one. go buy the V2. Oh, it is. I don't know. Let's. It's a little bit cheaper, but I don't want to say get this one. I feel like that's not going to help anybody. So you'd be better off getting the TBS Source One, which is, we saw that on this site here. If we search up Source One. This thing. So here's a little, if you just want to do some basic freestyling, that's about the same price. Might even be, it's even cheaper. There you go. So go check out that. Okay. Oh, FPV Nick, thanks again for your super chat. Any recommendations on not buying everything you put on the screen? Yeah, don't go buy what we were just looking at. Don't go buy that freestyle frame we're going to review. And this is important. When you are watching my videos, you've got to realize the categories that they're put into. So we might be reviewing an amazing HD small drone, but if you don't plan to do HD, don't go buy that. If you are not the sort of person who is hardcore into racing, because something like this, which is arguably one of the most advanced racing drones on the planet right now, this is not going to be for everybody. Are you going to those hardcore races? Nope, then you don't need to get it. So I feel like you need to, even though I'm excited about all this stuff, this is my job to live and breathe drones. And when I see these, I guess, incremental increases in technology, in design, it's hard for me not to get excited about it. I feel like I'm getting, not goosebumps, but getting amped up just talking about some of the cool stuff in this hobby. But that doesn't mean everybody has to love drones as much as I do. You just have a think of what's your situation like, whether it be financial. I'm all about value as well. If something is better value, it's going to get a lot better props. That's a good pun. A lot better points for me, because I feel like if I was just like you guys and these drones weren't coming in the post, if this wasn't my job to review them, I had to go out, search them myself, do my own research, what one is going to serve me the best in the long run. And yeah, my advice would be watch some of the videos. That's why I do those comparison videos, break it down, find out which one's going to be right for you, your situation, and based on your financial income as well. Because yeah, we can't all have DJI setups and flying around. It would be great, but I don't know. I'm rambling a little bit here, but yeah, I would say just check your situation and focus on the things first that you need to get. So get a good pair of goggles, get a good radio, and then you can start to build up your fleet of drones as well. You don't need to get everything, and you don't need to get the next greatest, best thing to stay in the hobby. Like we're talking about before with the F4 or the F7, I can't remember who asked that question, and they're saying they're going to save up and get an F3, and then they get an F7. No, 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 no. That's all a bit of hype. Yeah, there's a small bit of difference, but the most important thing, get out, have fun, get flying, work on your goggles and radio first, and just think about your situation. That is my number one tip. But thank you very much for your super chat. Feel free to buy some of them. But no, it's very much appreciated, brother. Fist bump. All right. I'm about to beat a remix right now with the Holybro F7. That's coming in from Duo F4. Due for FPV. That's a nice little name there. Dwight Still, what happened to the FPV shirt you would wear every live stream? Oh, okay, I forgot. I'll put one on for the next live stream. Night Train, what do I think about the 533 Tiny Trainer? I hope this is a drone. Let's have a look here. And it is. So, it looks kind of cool, actually. All right. Backyard Basher. It's out of stock. So this must have just released. Looks like a few people are talking about this. I wonder what's so good about it. There we go. Is that made out of plastic? That's kind of cool. And I say that by that's kind of cool as like an interesting thing for me to look at. No, it does have a carbon piece on the bottom. What does it do? Oh, anyway, I guess it looks okay. Too easy. And let's have a look. You know what? I think that might be. We're going to call it there. Going to go make some lunch. All that sort of stuff. If you've got any questions, please stick them down below. I wanted cheaper parts, so I got a job at Get FPV. Okay. Everything Stu reviews goes out of stock the next day. No, that's not necessarily the case. Can you tell us a joke? All right. Here's a bit of an aviation joke, and I might butcher it here, and then we're going to sign off. For it. If you think it's bad, give me a thumbs down. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you think it's a decent joke and you absolutely love it, you can throw me a super chat. So here's how it goes. So Arthur and Ethel, right? They've been dating for a while, and they go to the local county fair. I think that's what you call it over there in the States. and they see this ride, and it's like a helicopter ride. And they go up there. Arthur goes up and he says, "Oh, how much is this helicopter ride?" And the pilot says, "Oh, it's $50." And they're like, "Oh man, I can't afford that." And he goes back and he says to Ethel, "Hey, there's that helicopter ride. I'd love to go on there." And Ethel says, "No, Arthur, I'm sorry. 50. That ride is $50, and $50 is $50." Oh, okay. Anyway, and the next year they've been dating for a while. They get married and they go back to the fair. He sees it again and says, "Oh, maybe this time." And they ask, the price is still the same. It's $50, and Arthur goes back and says, "Ethel, what about this time?" And she says, "No, Arthur, that ride is $50, and $50 is $50." And this keeps going on. Every year, it's like a little romantic thing for them. They've been married for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. They've been going back to this fair. Anyway, one time, they're about 80 years old. They go back to the fair, and they're there, and Arthur sees it, and he's really thinking about it, and he's looking at the ride, and it's $50, and he says, "You know what, Ethel, if I don't go on this ride now, I might be dead next year. I've wanted to go on this ride my whole life. Please, come on, let's do this now." And she says, "Arthur, no, that ride is $50, and $50 is $50." Anyway, and the pilot's there, and he's heard this conversation. He looks at these old buggers, and he thinks, okay, I'll tell you what. I've seen you come here a few years in a row, I will make a bet with you. If you can go on this ride, it's going to be a little bit scary. We're gonna have some fun in this helicopter. But if you go on this helicopter ride with us and you don't say a single word, I'll give you that flight for free. I won't charge you the $50. But if you say a single word, you got to pay the price anyway." And he goes back and he says to Ethel, "What do you reckon about that?" And she's still umming and ahhing. She's a bit of a tight ass. She's like, "Okay." Finally gives in. You're 80 years old. We've been coming here all the time. They jump onto the helicopter. They go up for a flight. Arthur and Ethel are strapped in the back. The helicopter goes up, and he starts just doing some gentle cruising and buzzing around. And then he starts, they haven't said any words, and he starts doing some flippy floppies and doing some of the most death-defying stunts you can possibly do in a helicopter. And true to their word, there's not a peep from the back anywhere. They come in for a landing. And the helicopter pilot turns around and says, "I'm impressed. You can have this for free. You didn't even say one word." And Arthur says, "Well, I was almost going to say something when Ethel went flying out the door, but $50 is $50." So anyway, I'm laughing at my own jokes here. That was kind of distracting how the whole stream was still filling up with some more questions. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Subscribe for more FPV related content. And this is the end of the stream. Thanks very much for Ben for taking care of some of that spam that was coming in the chat while I was totally not. We're getting a few thumbs up. People are laughing at. So thank you very much. There's only 2 downvotes. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that little aviation joke. Fantastic. Dwight saying no. That's the end of the stream. Thank you so much for everybody who supported, whether it was a super chat, whether you're just watching it, whether you're a Patreon supporter. It is hugely appreciated. I'm thinking about moving the stream possibly 2 hours earlier, so then it's going to let me do some videos in the afternoon as well, because at the moment it is a little bit tricky to do a video and a stream in that short amount of time space in the middle of the day. Getting a few thumbs up buttons, so thank you very much. On that, subscribe for more FPV related content. I will catch you guys tomorrow. It looks like people enjoyed that joke, so maybe we'll have to end... All right, we'll end. Do I want to commit to having a joke every time at the end of the stream? That might be a lot of pressure. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You can see Tuck looks like his life. We're getting a lot of thumbs up, so I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. And that, I would say happy flying, all that sort of stuff. I'm just going to say I love you all, and I will see you guys soon. So let me go down and end this stream. And too easy. All right, I'll catch you guys. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. We've been doing like so many days in a row, but it will definitely, if it's not tomorrow, it will definitely be the next day as well. So anyway, happy flying and stream, and catch you guys soon.